Calvin Castine with Caleb Castine on the camera. We're at Olympic Stadium, and it's kind of quiet inside, but it's about to get a little noisy. If Caleb could come forward, you can see that there's other cameras set up here to check out the action. Those of you who've come in to Olympic Stadium have seen the statue of Maurice Richard up on the road that's perpendicular to the road that Olympic Stadium is on. And about an hour ago, a group of people met there with their placards and banners and what have you, and they've marched here to Olympic Stadium saying, "Save our Expos." This is Saturday, the 25th day of September 2004. After today, the Expos will have 4 home games left in the 2004 season, and the greatest possibility 4 games left at home in their 36-year lifetime. So the fans have gathered outside. They are very quiet. They were a little rowdy as we passed them driving by to the ballpark, but they've kind of settled down, and we're expecting them to make some noise inside. And we're going to go inside right now and take a look around. We're on the field now with that new turf that they put in this year. Looks like they're only going to get 1 year's use out of it. The Expos are going through the batting practice. Last night when we were here, the Phillies came in from Florida, and they had a late flight in, so they decided not to take batting practice. And up until the final out of the game, they were shut out, and they got a hit off a tiring Sonny Kim, and ended up getting a run off of them. We're going to try to pull aside. We've asked John Deaver, the media relations man here, to pull out aside the starting second baseman for the Expos tonight, a fellow named Brendan Harris. When we were here last night, Monique Giroux, the head of the media relations department, suggested we talk to Brendan because he's from Queensbury, New York, and we're always interested in talking to people from the northern New York area. The Phillies are going to be taking batting practice very shortly, and not in their lineup tonight is Jim Thome, who is getting a night off. The Expos will be pretty much starting the outside of the catcher Diaz, pretty much the lineup they've had for the last couple of nights. So Frank Robinson trying to learn a little bit about some of these people that they've brought up at the end of the season. One of them being Brendan Harris, who came over in the Orlando Cabrera trade. Another is, I'm going to murder this guy's name, Mysir Isturis, the shortstop, who made a fantastic play last night. Very reminiscent of the plays that we were familiar with Orlando Cabrera making. And it looks like he's going to be a solid man defensively. Just a question of whether he can hit. He's hitting at .217 right now, so he's got the potential. His brother Cesar is doing well. He took a few years to gel and start hitting at the major league level, and they've got big thoughts about this Isturis, who is from Venezuela, and looks like he's about 5'7" or 5'8", and maybe weighs 160 pounds when he's all soaking wet. Hopefully we'll have Brendan Harris here momentarily. Okay, we've captured Mr. Brendan Harris, born one day and 1 year ahead of my daughter. So looking at your information in the guide last night, and it said you're August 22nd, 1980.
26, but
they got it wrong. August. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it says 26.
It says in French it says 26, but in English it says 22nd. Right here. So must be the exchange rate or something.
Yeah, it's not. Everything's not worth as much up here, or worth more up here.
Whatever. Yeah. This is except for what, maybe a week or so with the Cubs. This is your first real stint in the big leagues, Brendan?
Well, I was up for a little over 2 weeks up in Chicago, and but yeah, this is the first year in which I've been up in the big leagues.
You signed in 2001 out of college with the Cubs. Yeah, and graduate of Queensbury High School.
Yes, sir.
And so that's of course Glens Falls for all the people who don't understand that part. But you were born in Albany. Did your family move or just
no?
That
was just it turned out to be the hospital. We were actually living in Glens Falls at the time. It just happened that.
Did you play other sports? Of course, Glens Falls, we all know the state basketball championships are held every year.
Yeah, I played basketball in high school.
Did you? Two sports, basketball and baseball. Now, most of the guys who've come out of the northern part of New York State have been pitchers. Of course, Randy St. Clair was from the Whitehall area, and I know the legendary Johnny Padres, and it seems that the people who've made it to the big leagues have all been pitchers, but there aren't that many position players who have made it. You're one of the few.
No, it's tougher. The season isn't as long up north, and it's easier for pitchers to be seen. As far as developing, and a lot of guys think that pitchers have a big upside because they don't throw as much. Because the season's a lot shorter.
So it keeps their arms stronger.
Yeah, but I was able to go to a school in Virginia and. Get and play right away as a freshman and get a lot of innings in and a lot of at-bats, and I think it helped me out a little bit.
Obviously, the Expos have a lot of confidence in your ability. They got rid of Cabrera, and Alex Gonzalez I don't think was in their long-range plans. You're probably more in their long-range plans. You played primarily third base in the minors, or did you play second also?
Second and third, yeah.
Second and third. Now, obviously, third base is a position where you expect a little more power, and you've had decent power in the minor leagues. You've hit a few home runs over your career.
Yeah, I've hit a few. Yeah.
Now, where do you feel your future is? You feel it's at second or third?
Well, I think just the makeup of this team is, obviously probably one of their best player. Jose Vidro, when he comes back, is a second baseman, and he's going to be here for a few years. So I would think, third base or utility role would probably be what I'd be looking at.
Well, obviously everybody wants to start, so you're hoping not for that utility role.
Right. At this point, as a young player, you want to get to the big leagues and then stay in the big leagues, and then be an everyday player and go from there. And obviously you want to win along the way. So we'll see what happens.
Now, were you excited to a certain extent about coming to Montreal? I mean, it's just 150 miles from your, well, maybe closer to 200, but between 150 and 200 miles from your hometown. So. Yeah,
I don't know how long they're going to be here, but it was a great opportunity. I got more of an opportunity to play here than I would have with Chicago. So I was happy with the trade.
Now, have your family and friends been able to come up and watch you?
Yeah, they've been up. We had some family meet us in Philadelphia. And I've had a few here and there come up this week, and I'll have more this week. This weekend. I think my old high school coach is coming up today. So.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So he's coming, and obviously my family and my dad's some on my dad's side. So it's been good.
Yeah, it makes it a lot handier for the folks that a lot of guys you graduated with are still in the area, I'm sure, and and of course that area that you went to, of course. A little bit beyond your remembrance days, but same time Randy St. Clair was coming to the big leagues. They had Dave LaPointe and Dave Palmer that came out of that Glens Falls area. Mm-hmm. So there have been some big leaguers that have come and had successful seasons. So yeah,
I've met them all, and and they've done pretty well. So I don't see any reason why I couldn't.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and you're in the lineup again tonight, so the Expos seem to be giving you some playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to try to get a few of the people who are behind the scenes and actually bring the scenes to the people out there. And we've got Mr. Sean Farrell and Associated Press. Is that AP? Is it CP? What's it called?
Associated Press. Yeah, I filed that to the New York bureau. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you work? What is Associated Press? Is that an international company? What?
It's a wire service. It's a news gathering. It's the world's largest news gathering organization, and it's based in New York. So it's an American cooperative. Yeah.
So you're strictly sports?
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess my question is, if all that comes to pass that's supposed to come to pass, and the Expos aren't here next year, what are you going to be doing all summer?
Well, it's something that I've kind of had in the back of my mind for 7 years. I'll just find out. I'm a freelance journalist, so I'll just find some things to round out the summer. Or it's something that really we'll see when next year comes around. If next year comes around, I mean, the team could possibly even be back here next year, although it really doesn't look like it at this point.
No, but as Yogi said, it ain't over till it's over, but it sure looks like it's over.
Yeah, it certainly does. There seems to be more pressure this year on Major League Baseball to relocate the franchise, to go ahead with it, and I think that things are going to come to a head in the coming weeks and months.
Do you travel with the team?
No, I cover the team's home games. I cover the Expos, the Canadiens, and the Ottawa Senators. So I travel up to Ottawa to do the Senators' home games. I'm based here in Montreal.
So when the Expos are on the road, what's Sean doing?
Oh, do some other freelance work, do some TV production, and keep myself busy with some administrative work too. Yeah.
But you work for yourself then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm a freelancer.
Now, if we took a poll around Montreal, probably they would think the biggest problem we have in sports right now is the NHL lockout. So, unfortunately, I don't think the Expos has been on the mind of the Montreal fans enough.
Well, I think the situation here has just gone on for so long that a lot of the people that were fans who follow the team closely are just so disenchanted with the way things have turned out here. I myself keep objective when I'm covering the team, but I grew up here in Montreal, and my father took me to a baseball game, the Expos' first season, when I was 5 years old, and I've seen the Expos every year since. And personally, it's heartbreaking to see what's happened with the franchise, and I think that a lot of people that follow the team, you can only tell them so many times that the team is going to move.
And they don't show up. They don't show up.
Well, yeah. In a sense, I think you got to give them some credit as consumers, because they've been given no reason to hope. And I would say that the people that actually do show up on a regular basis are probably some of the most devoted fans you find in any sport.
Now, unfortunately, they could use about 10 times that number to fill in the seats here. It's just unfortunate that you've got 5,000 or 6,000 people that show up on a regular basis, and that's been basically it.
I don't know under the circumstances that anybody could realistically expect any more. There's been no reason for these people to hope for any kind of solution, and it's just a shame. But it is what it is, and
yeah, it is a pity, because 20 years ago there were 2.5 million people coming through the turnstiles here. So
well, that's one of the things that's disappointing in all of this, is that there is a rich history of baseball in Montreal. The Royals AAA franchise was the Brooklyn Dodgers feeder team, and that was very well supported. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Montreal in professional baseball in 1946. And the Expos have been a part of the National League since 1969. And there's a cachet that goes with being a franchise in the major leagues. I mean, the term is a major league city. And I think that a lot of people in Montreal don't really appreciate that when they lose the team, that will that'll be a hit for the city. They will not be featured on nightly sportscasts about the baseball, and the visibility of the city will decrease somewhat.
Whether they believe it or not, it is part of Montreal's identity. It has been for the past 36 years.
Yeah, although the last 10 years, certainly since the strike in '94, and Actually, I think a lot of the problems with the franchise date to when Charles Bronfman decided to sell the team. Money was never an issue when Charles Bronfman owned the team, and ever since he sold the team, it's been the primary issue.
Whoop. Well, I haven't got many soccer skills, as you can see.
Yeah.
One of the things that has always been there that people say, well, this will save us, is the minority ownership that was here when Jeff Loria bought the team,
right.
and they've got that suit against baseball. But I think it appears to me as if they're in it for the money, and if they'll get bought out, that they'll be happy. They're not
well,
looking...
that certainly seems to be the common thinking. I would think that this lawsuit has played a more significant role than some people have let on in baseball about why it's taken so long for this relocation to come about. And certainly Peter Angelos's opposition to having a franchise in Washington is a significant roadblock, and both of those still exist, although the lawsuit, the arbitration hearing is coming to a head, and that's why I say, certainly with the drums beating the way they are, I think that there will be some significant movement in the coming weeks and coming months.
But as far as that lawsuit with the minority owners goes, the numbers just don't add up to me. I remember that year Loria had a couple of cash calls, and the other minority owners didn't throw money in, and all of a sudden their ownership went from 76% to 6 or 7%. It just doesn't figure that a few $1 million would put that big a hole in their ownership.
Well, I mean, the cash calls diluted the ownership, and I think that was understood by the limited partnerships what was happening, and that they were fully aware that their shares were going to be diluted. That's all part of. Well, yes, yeah, they were certainly aware of that. But that's all part and parcel of the lawsuit, and it remains to be seen what grounds the limited partners have to pursue, and I think again that's going to come to a head shortly.
It just seems strange that I don't know how many millions. I don't know if you would have a guess at how many millions Loria asked for in these cash calls, but that would result in 70% change in the ownership. 70% of the ownership changing.
Well,
so basically for a few $1 million, he bought 70% of the team.
That's what happened. My understanding is that the limited partners were concerned that if they met that cash call, that there would be future cash calls. It's clear that they just didn't agree with the way that he wanted to do business. But he was the managing partner, and the managing partner in baseball is the only one who can communicate with the commissioner's office on behalf of the team. So everybody understood what was involved. There was just obviously a split in the way each group saw doing business going forward, and I mean, it was obviously acrimonious because it's resulted in a lawsuit with some severe charges. It's just a matter of nobody knows how things are going to play out.
Would you have a memory roughly how many millions we're talking about that the cash call was?
I can't remember the specifics, but the principle well, yeah, but that's what it took, and the cash calls weren't met. So that part of it is there's nothing to argue about that. That's clear that process.
I think Mr. Loria knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, I'm sure he did, and I think that the limited partners were aware that may have come about. But again, that's it's a matter before the courts, and that's to be decided.
Yeah, so basically there are two things that are stumbling blocks between making it official that the Expos will be in Washington next year, and that's Peter Angelos, and that's this lawsuit, and I think money will talk in both instances. Yeah,
and again, I think that things are going to move pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's no savior that's saying, let's keep the team here in Montreal.
There's been no sign of that since Charles Bronfman sold the team, right. And that dates back to 1991. Originally, Claude Brochu put a limited partnership together. He tried to get a stadium built. That failed. When that failed, he decided he wanted to get out. Some of the remaining limited partners decided to form a new partnership involving Jeffrey Loria, and that partnership failed. And as part of a convoluted transaction, the Expos ended up being owned and operated by Major League Baseball. And for that situation to have endured for 3 years is unprecedented.
And it looks like they may even, if they move to Washington, may still be owned by Big League Baseball for a few more years.
That's a possibility. They may decide that the benefits of operating the team in Washington are better than the opportunities here in Montreal, and it's understandable why they would feel that way.
Well, we appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to chat with us, Sean. And
my pleasure.
I hope you're here working again next year.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
My pleasure.
Frank, it looked like you should have been out of the inning before those runs scored. What do you think?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're right. It should have been. You're right. It should have been. Should have been out the inning.
Frank, when you look at all the calls this year that have gone against you and have cost you games in critical situations, the Rivas fair foul home run, and then the slide where Ted Barrett admitted that he made a mistake, and then of course tonight, do you begin to feel like there's something playing against you here? Something's just not right with these umpires.
Did you say plan or plan? Playing against
yes.
us? Well, if you want to put it in those terms, I guess you could say that. I would put it in other terms. But I guess you could say, yeah. I think that, it may not be that they feel like as much as the stake is that they're umpiring with the Braves, Florida, or one of those top teams involved. And they may be a little bit more relaxed out there and not as sharp as they should be. Because it's an awful lot of close calls go the other way. From behind the plate, on the bases, different plays. It's just like the other night with the interference call. All right, so you have 4 umpires out there, and none of them called it right. None. He was going to let it go. And the whole plate umpire on that interference call is supposed to call the hitter out and then call the runner out. But he allowed the base umpires to send it all the way back to first base. And then I had to go out and correct them. Then they decided, oh yeah, that's right. That's the kind of stuff that's happening to us this year. And I just don't think they may be bearing down hard enough when we're playing. Taking it as serious as we're taking it.
How about Scott Downs tonight?
Excellent. Just an outstanding ball game. And he pitched well enough to win it, and I should have won it. And I didn't want him to be the losing pitcher tonight. I wasn't going to let him stand out there and maybe lose the ball game. And, you cannot give up runs in the 8th and 9th inning of close ball games and win. You cannot do it. You cannot afford to give up runs, and that's what we're doing, and that's what you're going to get beat when you do that, and that's what's happening with us in close ball games.
How did you feel about Chad's performance, Cordero?
How did I feel about it? It wasn't one of his better ones. That's, put it that nicely. It wasn't one of his better outings.
The umpire behind the plate seemed like he was having a hard time.